woke up yesterday to a text from you, Jem, showing me James Gunn's post. The first look at Superman, David Cornsweet suiting up with that huge purple laser in the background, looking like it's going to be Brainiac. What do you think, my brother?
I think I see some red undies on the outside of that costume.
Clearly referencing a bunch of New 52, looking like he just got out of battle and about to get right back into it. You see Lex Tower in the background. What do you think about this in the comment section below? Because DC is nowhere to be found on our list this week.
Yeah, we had to find a way to talk about this suit somehow, as there is no DC on this list, but maybe after this picture, we'll see some next week.
Hit the like and subscribe. You know we're going to be here every week, just like we have been for over 4 years, covering the hottest comic books in the world. And at the list at number 10, I think Marvel can probably learn a thing or two about this IP. We have The Last Ronin, issue number 1. For the third week in a row since the announcement that there was going to be not just a video game, but an R-rated live-action film.
Well, it does seem like they're heading in the right direction with the R-rated Deadpool vs. Wolverine, but we'll talk about the MCU later. Right now, it's all about The Last Ronin, issue number 1, a CGC 9.6 up 55%, the 9.8 up 64%, and get this, 11 copies outperformed that 12-month average. And then we got a 9.9 coming in at $750, a 58% increase for a year-high sale.
The fourth printing had a 10.0 record-breaking sale clock in this week, last selling in 2022 for $276, up 47%, now selling for an all-new high of $405. And yes, this book is hot as hell, but it is seemingly cooling down because the demand, although is high, the supply is mighty, and less people are buying it week over week. Let's prove it with the numbers.
Yeah, this book was definitely at its hottest when it first hit the Hot 10 2 weeks ago, where we saw 29 9.8s outperform its 12-month average. Last week there were 14, and this week we have 11.
Do yourself a solid and download Key Collector Comics, the best app in existence to keep up on all things funny books. You get access to the Hot 10 before we ever hit the mic, access to the Trending 20, multiple categories to feast your eyes on, learn about funny books, and to keep up with us. Use code TOM101 to unlock a free 2-week subscription and support the show, damn it. And next on the list, from one anthropomorphic character to another, we have Stan Sakai Goodness, number 9, Usagi Yojimbo, issue number 1. The first time this book has landed on the Hot 10 this year.
I was going to say, have we ever talked about this book on the Hot 10? I know his first appearance made the honorable mentions a few times a few years back, but if it has been, it's been a while. We've got a 7.5 up 36%, 8.5 up 31%. The 9.2 sold for $120. That's 4% above its 12-month average, just like the 9.6. And then we got the 9.8 clocking in at $685. That's 34% higher.
2 years ago, Samurai Rabbit in the World of Usagi Yojimbo landed on Netflix. Both seasons came and went, and it doesn't look like anything's happening with that. We also have this year's 40th anniversary of the character since his debut in Albedo number 2. This is a classic independent run that is beloved, and I think that the nostalgia there is currently present this year. But when you look at the prices, I mean, this book at its height, probably when we chatted about it last, was 2021, sold for $2,800 at a 9.8. The 12-month average is right around the $500 marker. This book is more affordable than it has been in years.
Yeah, so what's causing his first solo series to make the Hot 10? Well, it could be the 40th anniversary. It could be the fact that collectors recently shelled out over $400 for a raw 1 out of 40 ratio variant just last month.
That's right. The Mitsuhiro 1 in 40 surprised collectors across the board. It was a 1 in 40, and it spiked up to over $400 within a month. And this is not something that you typically see, especially in this market. And it's not a fluke, because issue number 5 also has the same artist doing a variant, and that's pre-selling at $100, and it comes out at the end of the month. So I think collectors are seeing the power of Usagi and also seeing the prices of the major keys and knowing now that this book is never going to stop being hot. It may be the best time to buy.
Which brings us to number 8 on the list, and I don't think that we've ever talked about this one on the Hot 10. It's a modern 90s book, but it's got one hell of a retailer exclusive. We're talking Spider-Man issue number 1, Todd McFarlane goodness.
We're talking the Platinum Edition, and oh, did they make so many different variants of this comic book, because it was at the dawn of the variant inclusion in collecting. Well, we haven't discussed the multiple printings of this book in quite some time, Jem. Are you down to do that today? Hit the like button if you want to see it. And surprise, we're going to cover it anyway, so just hit the like button anyways.
Now, you got to do it for this book. It's such an iconic cover. You got the regular version, the Spider-Man with the gray webs on the green background.
There was no polybag on that comic book, which brings us to the next comic book, which did have a polybag, and that's the Newsstand Green Edition. And also, don't forget about the direct purple webs green edition. It is barely distinguishable, but if you had one in hand, you would know you had it, and that was found in a polybag as well.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the polybag version was considered purple webbing. I mean, it's very similar, but when you hold them side by side, you could tell the difference. Then we have the silver edition, which has the silver webbing on the black background, and that one is not polybagged.
The gold edition, which is considered a second printing, also didn't have a polybag. And then you have the silver edition that's considered a no-price variant that was in a polybag. Are you keeping up?
Then we got the platinum edition, the one that put this book on the Hot 10 here, and this one has the foil webbing. It's a one-per-store retailer exclusive, and it has an awesome pinup on the back.
This right here is one of the very first thank you variants that was distributed by Marvel, and it also came with a letter that suggested the value be at $400, considering that this book came out in 1990. Oh, how much that comic was worth at that time. Then we have the Walmart UPC Gold Edition. This right here marks the scarcest version of the book found at none other than Walmart.
So what does a raw $400 book from the 1990s look like in 2024? Let's take a look at the sales. We got the CGC 8.0 selling for $600. That's 46% above average. The 9.2 is up 35%. There were 2 copies that outperformed the average, the highest coming in at $795. That's a year-high sale.
9.4 is up 18%, and the 9.6 and 9.8 are holding strong, basically selling for what they've been going for over the last 12 months. The 9.6 for $11.52, and the 9.8 just clocked in a sale at $3,850. Looking at the list at number 7, another book I think people need to slow down on. Wolverine 88, the very first time Wolverine fights Daredevil. Wait, Deadpool. What am I saying?
Yeah, definitely pump the brakes. I don't think we're going to see this book hit the list after Deadpool and Wolverine come out. It's just that the hype is so real right now. People are so excited for this movie that they're buying this first battle. We've got the Deluxe 9.6 up 18%, and 5 copies outperformed the 12-month average. The standard 9.6 selling for $285. That's 52% above average, and that's also a year-high sale.
The Deluxe 9.8 is up 14%, selling for $465, and we have 3 record-breaking sales to report on this week. The Deluxe Newsstand 7.5 last sold in March for $90, now selling for $119 for an increase of 32%. The Standard 9.2 sold for $150. That's a record, up 11%. And then we have the Deluxe Newsstand 9.6 selling last in February for $325, up 17%, now selling for an all-new high of $380. And we're not done talking about Wolverine yet.
Yeah, this is my area of expertise, and shout out to Iron Studios for releasing a Wolverine holding Deadpool 1/10 scale statue, and it was really like the first time we got a look at Hugh Jackman donning the Wolverine mask.
So how does it work, Jem? How do you get your hands on stuff like this? I imagine that you have to do like a pre-order of sorts. I've never been solicited with a statue I can just buy straight up, because aren't they all very collectible?
Yeah, in the statue world, typically you pre-order the piece, and in a few months it's ready to ship. You can go directly to ironstudios.com, or you can get it from a local distributor like Sideshow.
I'm loving this statue. I mean, you know that I can't collect these. I used to be a statue collector until I became a cat guy, and then my cats just knocked them over and I lost a bunch of money. But seeing Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, holding Deadpool is fantastic, but seeing him fully suited up is super special. I think it's going to be a momentous moment on the big screen to witness.
Yeah, the mask looks great. It looks natural, and how fitting that Deadpool is the movie that gave us the comic accurate mask, because that's what they did with the Deadpool costume. I mean, you remember what they did in Wolverine Origins.
Before we get to the next number on the list, I want to talk about something very serious. I'm not kidding. Both of our channels have been targeted for fraud on multiple occasions in the last couple years, and our channels are not the only ones impacted by this. Shout out Variant Comics and Comics Explained, who have all had to cover this multiple times on their channels.
Yeah, not only did it impact viewers of ours in the comments section, but it also made it impossible for us to do YouTube giveaways.
Impersonators will randomly go through our comment section and say to our audience members that they won something and demand money for shipping or as just part of a fee. We will never do that. We will never ask you for money in our comment section. Thus, we've had to stop doing giveaways until now. Go to ComicTom101.store and join our SMS text message sign up. This is how you can keep up on all drops, special deals, and how we will be able to contact you if you win a giveaway. And this weekly giveaway is starting now with a Batman 181 Santa Fung first appearance of Poison Ivy, limited to 500. All you have to do is go to ComicTom101.store, enter your phone number, and you'll be able to be contacted from us if you win any of our weekly giveaways. That way, we have a way to contact you directly, and we know it's you.
And most importantly, you'll know it's us.
And now we're back at the list with number 6 with, dare I say, probably going to be the first Blu-ray that I'm going to have bought in years. We have Godzilla number 1 from 1977. We have the first appearance of Godzilla in a U.S. standard-sized comic book.
That's right, Godzilla -1 coming out on Blu-ray in Japan. No U.S. release scheduled yet, but once that happens, maybe I'll finally be able to check it out. But this book has been making the list ever since the critical success of that movie.
The newest Godzilla film, Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, which I have yet seen, just became the highest-grossing Godzilla film ever to date, with its gross sale of $547 million.
It's been about a month since this book has made the list, and there have been 77 more slabs added to the census since then. That includes 4 more 9.0s and 9.2s, 16 more 9.4s, 24 more 9.6s, and 8 more 9.8s.
Crazy to think that Wolverine 88, the last book on the list, had an uptick of 24 9.8s in a little over a month. And it's been a month since we talked about Godzilla, and there's only been 8 9.8s. Gives you an idea, a perspective of the scarcity of this key Godzilla issue. The 9.4 is up 17%, selling for $170. The 9.6 is selling for $225, an increase of 18%. And the 9.8 is selling for about what it's been going for all year, $465, for an increase of 8%.
And we've got a humongous record-breaking sale fit for Godzilla and a CGC 5.5. This book sold for $60 just last year in 2023, and it's up 2% now, selling for $61.
Which brings us to number 5 on the list with Tales to Astonish 93, Maurice Severin cover, Hulk versus Silver Surfer classic battle. Then we also have the wonderful depiction of Hulk holding on for his dear life through the flames. Well, this is the very first time Silver Surfer is seen outside of the Fantastic Four title. And I think people are buying things that may be seen on the screen. And we haven't said that in a long time, Jem.
No, it's definitely reminiscent to the era of collectors buying comics with scenes that would later be depicted on film. Are collectors gearing up for Surfer vs. Hulk just in case? We talked about this last week or so with the Shatilov announcement and whether or not that means we're going to get Norrin Radd. I think this is another one of those classic covers, classic issue, and maybe we'll see this on screen. The 5.0 sold for $160. That's 12% above its 12-month average, and it's a year-high sale, just like the 6.5, which is up 20%, and just like the 8.0, which is up 15%.
The 9.0 sold for $700, which is about what it's been hitting all year long. 3 different year-high sales a month after Fantastic Four news. Clearly, people are specking on Silver Surfer, Norrin Radd, despite what the community at large feels about it.
Yeah, they did kind of eat us up in those comments. Moving on to number 4 on the list, we've got Werewolf by Night, issue 32. It's the first appearance of Moon Knight, and did you know that Moon Knight is coming out on Blu-ray?
Did you know that in this last week, rumors have begun circulating again for like the 10th time in the last 2 years that Wesley Snipes has signed multiple deals to not just reprise his role as Blade, but will possibly be in Deadpool vs. Wolverine and possibly other MCU shows and movies?
Now, those are just rumors for now, but I would not be surprised if we saw Wesley Snipes back on screen as Blade. Everybody wants it to happen, and they've been giving us a lot of fan service with casting. But what's going on with the horror side of the MCU? They had success with the Werewolf by Night show and with even Moon Knight, but it seems like it's been MIA ever since.
Where is the occult? Midnight Suns? Ghost Rider? Well, finally, we have some Bronze Age love happening on the Hot 10, taking us back to the very first appearance of Moon Knight, in which there's no confirmation of a season 2 coming, which seems preposterous. We have the 1.5 going for $386, that's up 12%. The 4.0 going for $675, that's a year high sale. The 8.0 is also a year high sale for $1,505. The 8.5 is also seeing a year high sale at $1,700, and 2 different copies outsold the recent 12-month average. And it didn't stop there. The 9.2 just sold for $2,880, and that's up 5%. Why all the sales now? The book is down, of course, but people want the supernatural. They want more mature narratives. And I think that's what the MCU is lacking.
And they have to have taken notice to the reception for Deadpool vs. Wolverine. I mean, it's been affecting the comic book market. Number 3 on the list is Wolverine number 1. Again, it's the millionth time that it's made the list, and fans are loving what we're seeing so far with Deadpool vs. Wolverine.
First solo series, and this right here is a comic that has been perpetually relevant. And to think that one of the biggest concerns going into the announcement of the new Deadpool movie was whether or not it was going to get an R rating, in which it did, to a lot of people's surprise. Well, let's hit him with the numbers and then also talk about how Kevin Feige has just been straight up wrong. Like, what's this guy doing, Jem?
24 more slabs on the census since this made number 2 just last week. That includes a 9.4, 2 9.6s, and another 9.8. The 9.0 had a year-high sale coming in at $186. That's 27% above average. The 9.2 is up 24%. 3 copies outperformed the average, just like the 9.6. 3 copies outperformed, and the highest coming in at $295 for an increase of 12%. Yeah, it just goes to show you that Kevin Feige has been full of bad takes. It seems like ever since Endgame, with telling Hugh Jackman he shouldn't reprise the role, with greenlighting so many of these Marvel movies that didn't perform well. Even director Sean Levy in that same Empire article said you'd have to be living under a rock to not know that the last few Marvel movies have failed to ignite the world in the way that so many did, to the point where they're cutting back on the amount of releases in both movies and television shows.
That right there shows that there is a sign of weakness right now. And I can't help but think with the success of The Last Ronin R-rated announcement, the success of Deadpool clearly this year, that a more mature take on narratives we all love, especially when sourced from the comic books, are the way to go. I can tell you what isn't the way to go. Pretty much everything they've been doing.
Now, as much as I love Turtles and The Last Ronin, I don't think that we can give them too much credit just yet. I mean, they just made an announcement, and Deadpool 3, which is now Deadpool and Wolverine, has had the R rating ever since its inception, but I'm still on the Turtles bandwagon with you. Anyway, moving on to number 2, it's still all connected. It's New Mutants 87. It's the first appearance of Cable.
Clearly, X-Men 97 has propelled this character back on collectors' radar. Rob Liefeld's signings doesn't hurt. This book is down from its heights. I mean, the book hit $1,000+, and you can get, on average, this book for under $500 right now. However, Josh Brolin rumors of reprising Cable looks worse and worse by the day. And even on this own show, a lot of disagreements happen at this table. I know Fire Guy Ryan's voting that he will reprise the role, but scoopers and leakers have unanimously agreed, for the most part, that this ain't happening.
I'm kind of with Fire Guy on this. The fact that everybody is reporting that he's not going to be in the movie feels like a little bit of misdirection and trying to keep it a secret so it's a surprise on screen. But we'll have to wait and see. The CGC 9.4, $160 sale, that puts it 9% above its 12-month average. The 9.6 is up 37%, and the 9.8, selling for $520, is up 11%, and 3 copies outperformed the 12-month average this week.
What do you think about that in the comment section below? I mean, Dazzler's nowhere to be found on this list today. In fact, no Taylor Swift spec happening. Could Cable actually be the one that we should be excited about? Let us know. Hit the subscribe button, slap the like button, and number 1 on the list is a book I do not think you should buy right now, but it's hot as hell. New Mutants 98, the first appearance of Deadpool.
First of all, big shout out to Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld for sharing our Deadpool post on his story. That's always super cool. And we're starting to see a lot of promo come out for this movie. We're getting posters. It's kind of like an homage to Wolverine 155, but you have Deadpool holding some katanas. You can see Wolverine in the reflection. There are even Saint candles that depict Deadpool, Dogpool, even Colossus that we're starting to see reveal. So the hype is real. We're getting close to the release, and we have 38 more slabs on the census since this book was number 1 just last week.
15 new 9.6s in 7 days, 4 new 9.8s in 7 days. And a big congratulations because Dogpool just won Britain's Ugliest Dog Award.
That's got to account for something. The CGC 9.2 up 4%. The 9.6 is up 2%. The newsstand 9.6 just sold for $930. That's 29% above average, and that's also the year high sale.
And the 9.8 just clocked in a sale at $15.25. It is up 9%, but we've been seeing this book at a 9.8 settle around $1,500 as it pertains to people who just want to buy the book now. Auctions, they're going for lower, and I still think with the hike in supply that the demand will not keep up once Deadpool comes out. I think this book is going to settle below $1,300. Are you overpaying for this comic? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comment section below. And damn it, as always,
Geek responsibly and stay minty fresh.
Enough said.